Hi everyone, it's Chari here, and today I'm going to be showing you how I made these holiday gift card pockets using the stitched journaling card die and some Peace Joy Love papers. So these have lots of possibilities with them as far as embellishments go, lots of different papers you could use. You can do them two different orientations. Now these I did with the big 12 by 12 double-sided paper, and this one actually has another card to the back to give the back side some design. But I'm going to be showing you what you can do if you only have the little Petite paper pack as well. I know not everyone has the 12 by 12 sheets. So first you want to start with something that has a pattern on both sides if you want something on the back side. Then you want to find a sheet that will be nice if it is folded down. So the two sides need to have a nice contrast to them. So I've picked out the striped paper and this light paper, and that's what I'm going to make one with. Now, not all papers work. Now this one has the tags on the back, so it's not going to work well to have a backside looking like one of these tags that's halfway cut out, and you can't fold it down on itself. But you can always cut another journaling card out of something and just glue it to the backside of it. This polka dot had the birds originally, but I cut out a striped piece and put it on the back. So there's lots of options to cover up any little mistakes you might have. So I'm going to be making one with the stripe and the lights. The stripe is going to be my back side, and the lights is going to be the front part of the pocket. And then on the back side of the lights is the green like bokeh design, and so that'll be a nice contrast, those three together. So I've taken my stitched journaling card die and I've cut out some pieces here, and I've gone ahead and cut some other pieces of some other papers that we're going to use. I've cut some of the Petite paper pack pieces, and I've cut a couple other of the 12 by 12s. So this is going to be the front, and some of these papers have orientation, so you want to make sure you cut it the right way. So this one's going to be a tall card, a portrait style card, so I made sure that I cut my pattern papers to where they're going to be oriented correctly. Things like the stripes and polka dots don't matter as much. So there's the Petite paper pack pieces I already cut. I'm going to use those to show you how you can make a card with the 6x6s that don't have a backside as well. And I've just cut a bunch more. So you could cut a whole bunch of these and then sit down and just kind of get creative and go crazy. And I try to be really conservative. I cut this strip to 3 inches wide, and that conserves my paper. And now I have these little scraps left over I can keep. So the first one I'm going to make, I'm going to start with the striped as my background, and then the part with the black with the lights is going to be the front, and the green is going to fold over like that. So I want to take my front piece, and this card measures 4 inches wide in that direction, and I just put that one up there so you can see kind of the one I'm making again. Now it won't be exact, but it's going to be similar. So it's 4 inches, so I'm going to score it at 2 inches. And then I'm going to fold it in half. Now obviously we got some work to do on this flap because it covers up all of the lights, but you get the idea of the way that's going to fold over like that. So I want to use the little star border that comes with the stitched journaling card set to create some little star cutouts. So I'm just lining it up on that part that's going to be the top panel, and I'm going to hold it with some washi tape and run it through my die cut machine. So there you can see the stars cut out, and you can see the black light pattern paper through it. So now I want to do the edge, and you could just cut it off straight if you wanted to with your paper trimmer, but I want to use my punch to make an edge. And we all who've used border punches know that it only cuts so far into the paper. So what I'm doing here is I took a scrap piece of cardstock and I just used that punch to punch it. And I'm going to figure out where I want that border to end up, and therefore where to cut my paper. And I couldn't really see through it, so you're going to see I'm going to cut off the end so that I can just kind of see where I'm putting it in relation to the stars. So I line up where I want the actual border to be, and then I'm going to mark the edge of the paper. So I want my border to be there, I want the edge of my paper to be there. So now I know how far to cut my paper. So I can just line it up in my paper trimmer, line up that little pencil mark with my cutting wire, and now I have it in the right spot. So now I can put that edge into that paper punch, and then my little border is going to end up right where I wanted it. So here you can see what it looks like with that border punched, and everything ended up right where I wanted it to be. So now it's just time to glue the pocket to the back piece. So I'm using the Tombow Mono multi-glue, and I'll be honest, me and this glue do not get along very much, but I'm trying it out again. And it ended up being sticky on the edges, so you'll see on the other two that I make that I'm not going to use this one. So just go by that little stitch line, try to stay on the outside edge, because you want to make sure your pocket is nice and open. So just stay right along the edge and then line it right up with the bottom. See, I have it everywhere. We don't get along very well. And then just kind of rub around the edge to make sure that it adheres down. You don't want to do too much glue because you don't want it to squish out and into the pocket. Now I'm using some gold sparkle lawn trimmings twine here, and I just wrapped it underneath that flap, and I'm going to tie a bow to the left side here. And I will secure it with a glue dot, which you don't see me do, but I do that later on. It looks a little loose here, but I secure it with a glue dot before I'm finished. I just don't think I did that on camera. And then I like to sometimes make, when I do this little cutout here on those other ones I did, I put some little foam adhesives under it so that it kind of pops up from that background a little bit and creates a little bit of dimension. So I put one on each corner, and then I put one in the middle. And it gives it a little, it stands off that black a little bit and gives it a little more interest. And then I can trim off the ends of this bow to the length that I want. And you'll see in the final picture at the end, I actually added some sequins to this later. So now I'm going to do a different one that uses the 6x6 sheets, which do not have a pattern on the back side. So you can leave the side white, or you could cut another piece and just adhere it to the back as well. But I thought I'd do this because not all card makers have 12x12 sheets. I know I usually don't. So I thought I would show you a version that uses pieces that don't fold over and don't have two sides. So the first thing I'm going to do is take the paper that I'm going to use for the front of the pocket and cut it in half. Now these are slightly smaller than 3 inches, so I was just measuring to figure out exactly where the middle was. So I'm going to take that and cut it right in half. Now one cool thing about when you do it this way is now you have two pieces cut right in half, so you actually have a front piece for another pocket if you wanted. So I'm just going to set that aside. And so this is what it's going to look like. Now to make my little folded over flap, I'm going to trim this green piece down to be the right width. And you can see I've gone ahead and punched the edge with an edge punch. And I'm just kind of lining it up how far down I want it to be. And I'm going to mark it on the back with a pencil, and then this will give me a guide of where to cut. So I'm going to actually cut it past that line so that the piece that's left over, that line will be where the fold is, and then the rest will go inside the pocket. Now you don't have to fold this and make it go inside the front of the pocket if you don't want to, but it gives it a nice finished edge rather than the raw white edge of the paper. So I'm going to take my trimmed off piece here and I'm going to score it right where my pencil line was, and that's where the fold's going to be for it to go inside the front. So I'll just end up adhering that back piece to the back side of that black paper, and I'm just going to use a adhesive runner to do this because it's a nice wide flat piece. And be sure you pay attention to which side you're sticking it on. You'll see here when I pick up this front piece that I almost stick it to the wrong side. It doesn't go that way. Flip it over and it goes this direction. You can just fit the top edge of that right in the fold and it'll help you line it right up. Now I went ahead and adhered the front part of my pocket to the back part, and you can see here if you wanted to cover up that white piece you could just take another card that you've cut out with a die and just adhere it to the back. And then I'm going to just adhere that folded piece just straight down. I'm using my aqua glue that's also by Tombow. And then I'm going to do a piece of flair on this, and this flair I put a big glue dot on the back of, and mine's a little different. I had some like prototype flair, so it doesn't come with the adhesive already on it. So you could either use the adhesive on it or you could pull it off and use the glue dot. And I used some Mistletoe lawn trimmings, and I used my glue dot to just kind of stick that to the back and create a kind of bow behind it. And I'm just going to take those big glue dots and I'm going to stick another one on the back. So there's a glue dot on the back of the flair, then the twine's all stuck to it, and then another glue dot. And so now I can stick it right down to the front of my pocket. I'm going to fluff the bow up like you want it. Now I played with my sequins and kind of found a place where I wanted some, and I'm just sticking those down with some multi-matte medium. Kind of gives it a little shine. So that is that one finished. Now you could do some stamping at the top or embellish it more if you wanted. Now I'm going to show you just a third one that I've already cut. I've already folded it. I've already cut the little hearts with the die, and then I used my scallop circle and I lined it up, but I didn't cut anything on the top. And now it will fold over and make this nice little scallop thing. But I don't like the contrast of the green with the holly, but that wasn't my intention to begin with. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold that down, trace one of those little hearts to use as a guide, because I'm going to put some glitter back here. So I'm going to use, I have some double-sided tape here. I've already put one piece down. I'm going to put the other one down, and I used that heart as a guide to make sure I put a piece that was wide enough to fill up the whole heart. Now I've already pulled off the backer paper, put it on a scrap piece of paper, and I'm just going to cover it in some glitter. This is a lot like that video I did with the card. Same idea. Putting on that glitter, and then I'm going to rub it in with my finger so it gets good and stuck down. And then I cleaned it off a little. Had to use my embossing anti-static tool some to clean it off. And I'm going to glue the front of that pocket down. So I'm just going to line it up and give it some pressure around the edges. I'm going to use those foam squares again to pop up that little front folded piece up off the glitter. And then this one I decided to make into a tag that you hang with some money or a gift card in it. So I'm going to use some of the Peppermint Lawn Trimmings twine, and I've just cut a length of it that I'm threading through the hole, both ends, and then I'll wrap it back through itself, and then I will tie a knot at the top. And this gives it something to hang by. It'd be cute hung in the tree, I think. And then I'm going to use a glue dot with a snowflake sequin from the sequin pack, and another glue dot I'm going to stick right in the middle of that snowflake, and I'm going to put a bow that's I tied from another length of that peppermint twine. I'm just going to trim those ends. So now I have a fun hanging tag gift card holder. So here's all the ones that I made, the 3 I made in this video, plus the 2 I've made previously. Here's some closer looks at all these. There's lots of possibilities, different combinations of paper and embellishments. So have fun creating these for the holidays. Thanks for watching. Have an amazing day. Bye.